Most of the time, your body runs like a masterpiece. Then, without warning, it starts behaving like a cursed smartphone. Your muscles twitch, your ears ring, you hear your name when no one called you. You wake up falling. You smell things that aren't there. You get goosebumps from music, panic for no reason, and sometimes your brain just hits a button nobody remembers installing. Science has theories for a lot of this, but not always a clean answer. Tonight, we're looking at 101 things your body does that doctors still can't fully explain. The tiny bugs, weird signals, and biological glitches hiding inside the human operating system. Fact 1. The falling jolt. You're just about to fall asleep, your body is finally shutting down, and then one leg suddenly kicks, like your nervous system tripped over its own wires. Doctors call it a hypnic jerk, and yes, it's real. Science has theories involving muscle relaxation and brain misfires during sleep onset, but your body still manages to turn bedtime into a surprise emergency drill with zero warning and incredible commitment. Fact 2. The phantom phone vibration. You're standing in line, walking through a store, or sitting at work, and suddenly you feel your phone vibrate in your pocket. You check it. Nothing. No call, no text, no notification. Just your body inventing digital lies for sport. Doctors know this phantom vibration feeling is common, especially in people glued to phones. But your nervous system still acts like it got a message from nowhere and panics first. Fact 3. The exploding head glitch. You're drifting off to sleep, everything is quiet, and then your brain decides to play a fake explosion, bang, crash, or gunshot directly inside your skull. No one else hears it. Nothing actually happened. Doctors call this exploding head syndrome, which sounds fake but sadly is not. Science has guesses, but not a neat final answer. Your body literally shuts down for the night and somehow adds private special effects. Fact 4. The eye twitch spiral. You're answering emails, driving home, or doing absolutely nothing dramatic, and then one eyelid starts twitching like it has its own emotional problems. Stress, fatigue, caffeine, and irritation can all play a role, so doctors can list suspects. But the exact moment your eye decides to start tap dancing for no reason still feels like a biological prank. Nothing says advanced human body like one tiny muscle launching a one-act panic show. Fact 5. The sudden drop sensation. You're lying in bed, completely still, and suddenly, it feels like the mattress disappeared and your whole body just dropped through space for half a second. Then, you're wide awake, heart pounding, staring at the ceiling like gravity personally attacked you. Doctors connect it to the strange transition into sleep, but your brain still occasionally treats bedtime like a falling elevator simulation. It's a very impressive glitch for a person who never moved. Fact 6. The déjà vu loop. You walk into a room, hear a sentence, or see a tiny moment unfold, and your brain suddenly insists this exact thing has already happened before. Not vaguely, exactly. Doctors and researchers have theories involving memory processing, timing errors, and brain familiarity systems. But the experience still feels like your mind accidentally loaded the same file twice. For a few seconds, your body runs reality like a cheap app stuck on repeat. Fact 7. The random goosebumps. You're not cold, nobody touched you, and nothing scary is happening, but your skin suddenly erupts in goosebumps like your body just got a memo from the Stone Age. Music can do it, certain memories can do it, weird thoughts can do it. Doctors know goosebumps are tied to old survival wiring, but your system still throws them out at bizarre moments. Apparently, your body still believes every emotional song might be a wolf. Fact 8. The phantom smell. You're in the kitchen, at work, or lying in bed, and out of nowhere you smell smoke, perfume, something metallic, or some weird burnt smell that does not exist. You look around. Nothing. Doctors know phantom smells can happen, and there are several possible reasons, but that does not make it less creepy. Your brain basically sends your nose a fake alert, and then leaves you to wander around the room like a confused bloodhound. Fact 9. The name you swear you heard. You're in the shower, walking outside, or half focused on something boring, and suddenly you hear someone call your name. You turn around. Nobody did. Doctors know the brain is very good at pattern detection and sometimes a little too eager, especially with meaningful sounds. But it still feels like your nervous system briefly turned into a haunted intercom. Human biology really built a feature where your brain can prank you using your own identity. Fact 10. The yawn infection. One person yawns in a meeting, on a bus, or in a classroom, and suddenly half the room starts doing it like some invisible biological domino effect just got triggered. Doctors know contagious yawning is real. They even have theories involving empathy, social mirroring, and brain wiring. But there is still no perfectly satisfying answer for why one open mouth can hijack an entire group. Your body sees a yawn and immediately decides it's now a community project. Fact 11. The sleep paralysis trap. You wake up in bed, your eyes are open, your room is visible, and yet your body refuses to move like your nervous system just changed the locks while you were asleep. Some people even feel a presence in the room, which is a lovely bonus from hell. Doctors know sleep paralysis is real and tied to REM sleep misfires, but your body still occasionally turns waking up into a haunted loading screen with full cinematic commitment. Fact 12. The false wake-up scam. You wake up, check the room, maybe even start your morning, and then suddenly wake up again for real and realize the first version was fake. Your brain basically ran a bootleg rehearsal of consciousness without asking permission. Doctors connect false awakenings to dreaming and sleep state confusion, but that does not make them less creepy. Your body really has a feature where it can simulate being awake badly enough to make reality feel like a scam. Fact 13. The random full-body shiver. You're standing in the kitchen, scrolling your phone, or doing nothing remotely dramatic, and suddenly your whole body shivers like someone just whispered ghost news directly into your spine. You are not cold. Nothing touched you. It just happens. Doctors can point to nerve signals, temperature regulation, emotion, or stress, but your body still occasionally acts like it received an emergency broadcast from another dimension, and only your muscles got the memo. Fact 14. The ringing ear. Solo. You're sitting in a quiet room, driving home, or trying to fall asleep when one ear suddenly starts ringing like your skull picked up a private radio station. Sometimes it fades in seconds. Sometimes it stays long enough to make you question your wiring. Doctors know tinnitus is real, and they know some triggers, but the brain still loves generating phantom soundscapes with zero audience demand. Apparently, silence is too simple, so your nervous system adds bonus audio. Fact 15. The laugh at the worst time bug. You're at a funeral, in an argument, or trapped in a painfully serious moment, and your body suddenly decides this is the perfect time to laugh. Not because anything is funny, because your system is apparently buffering under pressure. Doctors can tie this to stress, tension, overload, and emotional misfires. That still does not explain why your brain occasionally responds to disaster like a broken sitcom track. Human emotion is elegant right up until it absolutely is not. Fact 16. The lump in the throat trick. You're trying not to cry during a conversation, in a meeting, or while hearing something emotional, and suddenly your throat feels like it swallowed a marble made of drama. You can still breathe, you can still talk, but your body acts like emotion physically moved into your neck and signed a lease. Doctors know this globus sensation is real and often stress-related. Your body just insists on making feelings feel weirdly tangible for no reason anyone enjoys. Fact 17. The hiccup ambush. You're eating lunch, laughing too hard, or just sitting there minding your own business when your diaphragm suddenly starts throwing tiny internal tantrums. Hiccups are common, annoying, and weirdly persistent for something so useless. Doctors have theories about nerve irritation, stomach expansion, and reflex arcs, but science still cannot fully explain why your body sometimes decides breathing needs a remix with zero warning. It's like your torso accidentally sat on the wrong piano key. Fact 18. The jaw clench night shift. You go to sleep like a normal person and wake up with your jaw feeling like it spent the night arguing in court. You may not remember anything, but your teeth apparently held a secret overnight meeting without consent. Doctors know jaw clenching and grinding often connect to stress, sleep, or bite issues. That still leaves the body acting like it runs a second, angrier shift after bedtime. Human rest remains one of biology's least convincing promises. Fact 19. The restless leg rebellion. You finally sit down on the couch, lie in bed, or try to relax on a flight, and suddenly, one leg feels like it must move immediately or the universe will collapse. Not pain exactly, not comfort either. Just a deeply weird electric urgency from inside your own body. Doctors recognize restless leg syndrome, but the exact cause is not always clear. Your nervous system basically starts spamming motion requests when all you wanted was peace and horizontal dignity. Fact 20. The floating dot parade. You stare at the sky, a white wall, or a bright screen, and suddenly there they are, tiny drifting specks, threads, or jellyfish-looking blobs floating across your vision like your eyeballs hired abstract artists. Eye floaters are common, and doctors know they're often linked to the gel inside the eye. That still does not make them less bizarre. Your body really lets you carry around internal visual debris, and then acts offended when you notice it. Fact 21. The TV static vision bug. You're staring at a wall, the sky, or a bright screen, and it suddenly looks like reality has a layer of faint visual static over it, like your eyes are streaming life on bad Wi-Fi. Visual snow is real, and clinicians now recognize it as a distinct syndrome, but its exact mechanisms and treatments are still being worked out. Your visual system basically runs an unauthorized screen filter and then acts like that's normal. Fact 22. The flash that wasn't there. You're sitting quietly when a flicker or flash pops across your vision like somebody took a camera photo inside your eyeball. Sometimes it's harmless. Sometimes it needs urgent medical attention. Doctors can explain some causes, especially changes in the eye's vitreous, but the experience still feels like your operating system threw a light effect into the scene without asking. Human vision really does come with jump scare settings built in. Fact 23. The after-image hangover. You look at something bright, glance away, and the image keeps ghosting in your vision like your brain forgot to close the tab. A little after-image is normal, but it still feels bizarre every single time, like your eyes are buffering and your visual system is clinging to the past out of spite. Doctors can describe the visual processing behind it. That does not stop it from feeling like your body copied and pasted light directly into your skull. Fact 24. The phantom touch crawl. You're in bed, on the couch, or standing still, and suddenly it feels like something brushed your arm, touched your leg, or crawled across your skin. You check. Nothing. Doctors know weird skin sensations can happen, and nerves, stress, or sensory misfires can all be part of the story. But your body still occasionally sends fake touch notifications, like a haunted phone with shoulders. It's your nervous system hitting, "Somebody touched me," with no actual somebody. Fact 25. The storm in your joints forecast. Some people swear their body knows bad weather is coming before the app does. Joints ache, old injuries complain, and suddenly knees are doing meteorology. Doctors hear this constantly, and researchers have ideas involving pressure, tissue sensitivity, and pain perception. But the full picture is still debated. Your body basically starts acting like a low-budget weather station built out of cartilage, memory, and mild resentment. Somehow the ache arrives before the forecast finishes loading. Fact 26. The pre-alarm wake-up glitch. You set an alarm for 6:30, and then, without hearing anything, you wake up at 6:28 like your body hired a tiny unpaid intern to watch the clock. Circadian rhythms and hormone timing help explain why this can happen, especially with regular schedules, but it still feels eerie when your brain clocks in early with no sound cue at all. Your body acts like it secretly read the calendar invite and decided alarms are for amateurs. Fact 27. The metallic taste pop-up. You're doing nothing interesting, maybe driving, working, or just existing, and suddenly your mouth tastes metallic for no obvious reason, like your body licked a battery in secret. Doctors know metallic taste can happen and that lots of things can contribute, from dry mouth to illness to sensory changes. But in the moment, it still feels like your taste system opened the wrong file. Human biology remains deeply committed to surprise flavor events nobody requested. Fact 28. The involuntary blush betrayal. You say one awkward sentence in a meeting, someone looks at you too long, and suddenly your face turns bright red, like your circulatory system snitched. Blushing is involuntary, tied to emotion and stress, and that's exactly what makes it so rude. Doctors can describe the blood vessel response. That doesn't make it feel any less like your body has publicly leaked your internal panic report. Your face basically publishes your embarrassment before your mouth can file an appeal. Fact 29. The sweat from absolutely nowhere. You're not hot, you're not working out, nothing dramatic is happening, and yet your body suddenly starts sweating like it has urgent information you do not. Doctors recognize excessive sweating as a real condition, and sometimes there's no obvious cause at all, which means your body can just decide today is a moisture emergency for reasons it refuses to explain properly. It's like your nervous system misread slight stress as abandon ship immediately. Fact 30. The music chill system error. You're listening to a song, a voice, or even a perfectly timed moment in a movie, and suddenly your skin prickles, your spine shivers, and your body reacts like someone pressed a hidden emotional button. Researchers can link chills to reward circuits and measurable bodily responses, but why certain sounds hit certain people so hard still isn't fully nailed down. Your body basically hears art and briefly responds like it spotted a ghost made of dopamine. Fact 31. The brain tingle ambush. You're watching a whispery video, hearing someone tap on a microphone, or even listening to soft instructions, and suddenly your scalp lights up with weird, pleasant tingles, like your nervous system got a luxury massage update without warning. ASMR is real, involuntary for some people, and still not fully pinned down in a neat universal way. Your body basically hears gentle noises and responds like it found a secret settings menu. Fact 32. The name in the room glitch. You're half-focused, tired, showering, or just existing normally when you swear you hear someone say your name. You turn around. Nobody did. The brain is extremely good at pattern detection, especially with meaningful sounds, and that can create false alarms from ordinary noise, which means your nervous system occasionally runs your name through phantom surround sound for no reason except apparently keeping you humble. Fact 33. The déjà vu replay error. You walk into a room, hear a phrase, or see a tiny sequence of events, and suddenly your brain insists this exact moment has already happened before, down to the lighting and the tone of somebody's voice. Déjà vu is common and often harmless, and researchers think it may involve memory processing glitches. That still doesn't make it less eerie. Your brain basically loads a scene and then claims it remembers the episode from a season that never aired. Fact 34. The "why does this look unfamiliar" bug. Sometimes the opposite happens. You look at a familiar word, place, or routine, and it suddenly feels deeply wrong, blank, or unfamiliar, like your brain briefly forgot how reality is organized. That experience, often called jamais vu, can happen in normal people too, especially with repetition and fatigue. It feels like your recognition system unplugged for 3 seconds and then came back pretending nothing happened. Human consciousness really does buffer in public sometimes. Fact 35. The sleep-talking side channel. You go to bed like a normal person, then start mumbling, answering invisible questions, or giving low-budget midnight speeches to nobody. Sleep-talking is common, usually harmless, and often tied to stress, sleep loss, or other sleep disruptions. Doctors can describe it, but your brain still occasionally opens a weird after-hours customer service line while the rest of you is supposed to be offline. It's basically your mouth posting unauthorized updates from the dream department. Fact 36. The night terror overreaction. Someone sits bolt upright, screams, looks awake, and acts terrified, except they're not fully awake at all. Night terrors are real parasomnias, often linked to sleep disruption, stress, or exhaustion, and they can look dramatic enough to make everyone else in the room question reality. Doctors know a lot about the pattern, but the experience still feels like your brain launched a full emergency simulation while consciousness was still mostly off-duty. Fact 37. The wrong time crying malfunction. You're angry, overwhelmed, arguing, or trying very hard not to get emotional, and suddenly your body decides tears are the chosen output format. Not because you're sad, just because your emotional wiring apparently picked the least convenient response on the menu. Stress and overload can absolutely do this, but it still feels like your face submitted the wrong file type during a crisis. Human emotion is a masterpiece, right up until it starts leaking out of your eyes by mistake. Fact 38. The freeze like a statue response. A stressful moment hits. Someone yells, something almost goes wrong, or danger suddenly feels close. And instead of fighting or fleeing, your whole body just stalls like the operating system locked up. That freeze response is a real physiological reaction tied to threat processing, not weakness or bad character. Your body sometimes responds to danger by briefly becoming furniture, which is amazing if you're hiding from a predator, and deeply inconvenient if you're just trying to answer a question in public. Fact 39. The adrenaline dump crash. You get startled, panicked, embarrassed, or suddenly stressed, and your body floods with heat, shaking, pounding heart, dry mouth, and the strange feeling that everything just shifted into emergency mode. Then, a little later, you crash hard like the whole system blew through its battery too fast. Doctors can explain the stress response chemistry. That doesn't stop it from feeling like your body accidentally launched full disaster mode over something as small as a phone call or awkward sentence. Fact 40. The dream acting update. You're asleep, but suddenly you're talking, kicking, punching, or physically acting out whatever your dream thinks is happening. REM sleep behavior disorder is a real condition, and doctors know it involves abnormal muscle activity during REM sleep, when the body is usually supposed to stay still. Which means your dream software can, in some people, override the normal do not physically participate setting. Sleeping is already weird. Your body occasionally makes it interactive. Fact 41. The chewing rage glitch. You're in an office, on a plane, or trapped at dinner, and someone starts chewing like a normal mammal. Suddenly, your body reacts like they've personally declared war. Misophonia is real. Certain sounds can trigger intense emotional and physical reactions, far beyond ordinary annoyance. Doctors can describe the pattern, but it still feels like your nervous system installed the hidden, absolutely not that sound button and set it to nuclear. Fact 42. The car-sick input error. You're reading in the back seat, on a boat, or staring at your phone in motion, and your stomach suddenly acts like your soul is trying to leave through your mouth. Motion sickness happens when your brain gets conflicting messages from your eyes, inner ear, and body about movement. It's a very sophisticated system solving the wrong problem in real time. Your body basically sees mixed signals and chooses nausea as customer support. Fact 43. The itch that isn't there. You're in bed, at your desk, or halfway through a conversation when one patch of skin suddenly feels unbearably itchy. You scratch. Nothing changes, or the itch moves like it's actively mocking you. Phantom itch is real, and odd sensory misfires can happen even without a clear skin trigger. Your body basically sends an urgent "scratch now" notification with no useful evidence attached, then watches you investigate your own arm like a confused detective. Fact 44. The sudden heat surge. You're in a meeting, cooking dinner, or standing in line, and out of nowhere your body acts like someone turned your internal thermostat to lava. Hot flushes are real, common in some hormonal states, and can show up as abrupt waves of heat, sweating, and flushing. Doctors know a lot about them, but in the moment it still feels like your software hit overheat for absolutely no reason you approved. Fact 45. The random cold spike. You're not outside, the room temperature hasn't changed, and suddenly a weird cold ripple hits your body like your nervous system briefly wandered into winter. Sudden shifts between feeling hot and cold can happen with hot flushes and other autonomic body responses, even without a dramatic external cause. Your body basically receives one confusing internal memo and starts climate managing you like a haunted office thermostat with emotional issues. Fact 46. The doorway memory wipe. You walk into a room with a mission, cross the doorway, and instantly forget why you're there like your brain deleted the tab mid-click. Researchers sometimes call this the doorway effect, where shifting context seems to disrupt memory retrieval. It's not your soul leaving your body. It's just your brain being weirdly sensitive to scene changes. Human memory really can reload the room and forget the assignment in the process. Fact 47. The word on the tip bug. You know the word. You can feel the shape of it. You maybe even know its first letter. But when you try to say it, your brain just spins like a browser with 12 cursed tabs open. Tip of the tongue states are a real memory retrieval glitch, not proof your brain has abandoned you forever. Your language system simply stalls out in the most humiliatingly public way possible, then often hands you the word later like nothing happened. Fact 48. The smell to nausea shortcut. You catch one weird smell, food, perfume, cleaning product, something faint, and suddenly your stomach acts like it's filing an emergency complaint. Stress and sensory triggers can absolutely cause nausea, and some people get hit fast and hard by certain odors or associations. Doctors can explain the stress and gut connection. That still doesn't make it less rude when your body smells one thing and immediately chooses revolt over discussion. Fact 49. The instant brain fog drop. You're answering a simple question, reading an email, or halfway through a thought when your brain suddenly turns into soup. Not sleepy, not unconscious, just weirdly blank, slow, and unhelpful. Brain fog can show up in several medical contexts, including hormonal changes and stress-related states, but it still feels like your system temporarily reduced processing power without notice. Your body is an advanced machine, except when it briefly runs on airport Wi-Fi. Fact 50. The standing up spin cycle. You stand up too fast from the couch, bed, or floor, and suddenly the room tilts like your balance software restarted badly. Dizziness has many possible causes, and some episodes happen because blood pressure and body position changes momentarily outpace your system's adjustments. Doctors can explain the mechanics better than the sensation, because in the moment, it still feels like your body forgot gravity was active and only remembered halfway through the reboot. Fact 51. The needle fainting glitch. You're sitting in a clinic, totally aware that a blood draw is routine, and then your body decides this tiny needle is actually the fall of civilization. Some people faint at the sight of blood or needles because vasovagal syncope can make heart rate and blood pressure suddenly drop. Doctors can explain the mechanism. Your body still sees one medical poke and responds like it just witnessed a bear attack in a pharmacy. Fact 52. The sleepwalking side quest. You go to bed like a responsible adult, and then, at some point in the night, your body apparently opens a side mission. Sleepwalking is real, more common in children but possible in adults too, and it can range from simple sitting up to wandering around. Doctors know it's a sleep disorder pattern, but it still feels absurd that your body can literally get up and start doing things while your conscious brain clocks out completely. Fact 53. The sleep-drunk confusion bug. Someone wakes you up, or you half-wake on your own, and for a few minutes, your brain behaves like it booted up in the wrong language. Confusional arousals are real parasomnias where a person partly wakes, acts confused, may talk incoherently, and often remembers none of it later. Doctors can label it. Your body still turns waking up into a brief software corruption event where consciousness loads badly and customer service is unavailable. Fact 54. The dream walking upgrade. Sometimes sleep does not stay in the safe little box we call bed. Parasomnias can involve walking, talking, fear, movement, and other bizarre behaviors during sleep or partial waking states. That means your body can literally run behaviors while your conscious mind is off duty, then leave you with no memory or just fragments. It's less rest and more overnight background processing with occasional unauthorized physical activity. Fact 55. The overkill startle response. A small sound, sudden touch, or surprise can hit your body like a full emergency alarm, with a huge jolt, racing heart, and total system overreaction. Doctors know the startle response is a normal protective reflex, but sometimes it arrives with enough intensity to feel wildly out of proportion. Your body hears one tiny input and responds like the building exploded. It's a very advanced organism occasionally running on panic settings from prehistoric software. Fact 56. The phantom limb signal. Some people lose a limb and still feel it itching, cramping, burning, or hurting as if it never left. Phantom limb pain and sensation are very real, and even now, the full explanation is not perfectly nailed down. Doctors can point to brain and nervous system changes, but that still leaves your body generating painfully convincing updates from something that is no longer there. Human wiring is so strange, it can keep sending messages to an address that no longer exists. Fact 57. The weather pain forecast. Some people can feel a storm in their joints before the weather app catches up, and while medicine has theories, the whole story still is not tidy. Changes in pressure, sensitivity, old injuries, and pain processing may all play a role. That still doesn't make it less bizarre when your body starts acting like a grumpy human barometer. Apparently, your knees occasionally believe they work for the atmosphere now. Fact 58. The needle and jerking combo. For some people, fainting is not even content with just fainting. Convulsive syncope can happen as a rare subtype of vasovagal syncope, meaning someone can pass out from triggers like needles or blood and have brief jerking movements too. Doctors can explain that this is not the same as a seizure. Your body still occasionally sees one medical trigger and decides the most dramatic possible shutdown sequence is the correct one. Fact 59. The waking in terror system error. A sleep terror can make someone suddenly scream, sit upright, look terrified, sweat, thrash, and be hard to wake, then remember little or none of it later. Doctors recognize the pattern, and it can overlap with things like sleepwalking. That still leaves your body staging a full horror scene while your conscious mind is barely online. Human sleep is marketed as rest, but sometimes it's just your brain running emergency theater with the lights off. Fact 60. The sleep that fights back. In some sleep disorders, the normal muscle off switch doesn't fully behave, and dream-related movement can spill into the real world. Doctors can identify REM sleep behavior disorder and other parasomnias, but the basic feeling remains unsettling. Your body is supposed to be sleeping, yet it is physically participating in scenes your brain invented. That means bedtime can occasionally become live-action dream playback with terrible staging and zero audience consent. Fact 61. The doorway memory wipe. You walk into the kitchen, bedroom, or office with a clear mission, cross the doorway, and instantly forget why you came in, like your brain deleted the tab mid-click. Researchers call this kind of context-linked lapse the doorway effect, and it fits with how memory can get disrupted by shifting environments and attention. Your body basically changes rooms and accidentally clears the clipboard. Fact 62. The word on the tip lockup. You know the word, you can feel it. Maybe you even know the first letter. But when you try to say it, your brain just spins like a frozen browser with 12 cursed tabs open. Tip of the tongue states are a real retrieval glitch, not proof your mind has abandoned you forever. Human language is a miracle, right up until it suddenly refuses to load the one noun you desperately need in public. Fact 63. The nervous laugh disaster. You're at a funeral, in an argument, or trapped in a painfully serious moment, and your body suddenly decides this is the perfect time to laugh. Not because anything is funny, because your stress system apparently chose chaos as the output format. Emotional overload can produce bizarre responses, including laughter in the absolute wrong setting. Your body basically hits the sitcom button during a crisis and leaves you to explain the damage afterward. Fact 64. The anger cry betrayal. You are furious, trying to stay sharp, and instead of delivering the devastating line you planned, your eyes start watering like your face joined the wrong team. Stress, overwhelm, and emotional overload can absolutely push the body into crying even when sadness is not the main event. Which means your nervous system can take perfectly good anger and repackage it as tears, humiliation, and a throat full of malfunctioning drama. Fact 65. The song that breaks your skin. You hear a voice, a chorus, or one perfectly timed chord change, and suddenly your arms prickle. Your scalp tingles, and your body reacts like a ghost made of dopamine just walked through the room. Music chills are real and tied to reward circuitry, and dopamine appears to play a role. Your body basically hears art and responds like it found treasure buried inside sound. Fact 66. The smell memory time machine. A smell hits: soap, sunscreen, dust, old perfume, and suddenly you are not just remembering something. You are inside it for a second, like your brain opened a hidden archive without warning. Smell is tightly linked to memory systems, which helps explain why odor-triggered recall can feel instant and strangely powerful. Your body basically stores whole emotional flash drives in your nose and then launches them at random. Fact 67. The reality feels off moment. You are walking, talking, doing normal things, and then for a few seconds, the world feels oddly unreal, foggy, or stage set, like someone turned reality down one setting too low. Derealization and depersonalization experiences can happen, and clinicians recognize them, especially around stress and dissociation. That still does not make it less weird when your own life suddenly feels like it is buffering from outside itself. Fact 68. The "am I real right now?" glitch. Sometimes the weirdness points inward instead of outward. You feel detached from your own thoughts, body, or movements, as if you are observing yourself from a slight distance instead of fully inhabiting the moment. Depersonalization is a recognized experience, not just dramatic wording for a bad day. Your brain basically keeps the lights on while briefly making you feel like a guest in your own nervous system. Fact 69. The instant blank out. You are answering a simple question, introducing yourself, or halfway through a sentence, when your brain suddenly turns into static and hands you absolutely nothing. Not unconscious, not asleep, just blank. Stress, overload, and retrieval hiccups can all contribute, but the sensation still feels absurdly mechanical, like your mental software froze right when the audience was watching. Human cognition really does crash in the middle of extremely normal tasks. Fact 70. The memory hole that heals itself. You spend 30 panicked seconds searching for a word, a reason, or a thought that vanished for no obvious reason. Then 5 minutes later, your brain casually returns it like nothing happened. Retrieval failures and sensory memory quirks can make information feel gone when it is really just inaccessible for the moment. Your body basically locks the file, watches you suffer, then reopens it after the social damage is complete. Fact 71. The public blush betrayal. You say one awkward sentence in a meeting, trip over a word on a date, or get called on in class, and suddenly your face goes bright red, like your circulatory system just leaked your internal panic report to the room. Blushing is a real physical sign that can show up with social anxiety and stress. Your body basically turns embarrassment into a live visual announcement before your mouth can file an appeal. Fact 72. The stress sweat ambush. You are not hot. You are not running. You are just standing there, maybe about to speak, apologize, or introduce yourself, and suddenly, your body starts sweating like it got an emergency memo you never saw. Sweating is a recognized physical symptom in anxiety states and panic reactions. Human biology really does hear social pressure and respond with, "Excellent, let's simulate a heat wave." Fact 73. The handshake sabotage. You are holding a microphone, signing your name, lifting a glass, or handing someone a card, and then your hands start trembling like your nervous system just switched to vibration mode. Trembling and shaking are well-known physical anxiety responses. That still does not make it less rude when your body turns a normal public moment into a low-budget earthquake focused entirely on your fingers. Fact 74. The lump in the throat blocker. You are trying not to cry, trying to speak, or trying to stay composed, and suddenly your throat feels like it has installed a fake obstacle right in the middle of the sentence. Globus sensation is real, a painless but very convincing lump feeling, often linked with throat tension, reflux, stress, or anxiety. Your body basically responds to emotion by stuffing invisible furniture into your neck. Fact 75. The panic stomach shortcut. You get nervous before a presentation, a flight, a confrontation, or even a difficult text, and your stomach immediately starts behaving like it has already received the disaster in full. Nausea, abdominal discomfort, and urgent bathroom drama are classic physical anxiety responses. Your brain basically sends one stress alert, and your gut responds like it's evacuating the building before the fire alarm even finishes ringing. Fact 76. The freeze in public lockup. Someone asks you a simple question, all eyes turn to you, or a stressful moment lands hard, and instead of thinking faster, your whole system just stalls. Acute stress reactions can involve a dazed state, narrowed attention, and even withdrawal or inability to respond normally. Your body basically sees pressure and decides the best available move is to become emotionally offline furniture for several seconds. Fact 77. The voice that betrays you. You know exactly what you want to say, but the moment it matters, presentation, argument, speech, apology, your voice goes thin, shaky, tight, or weirdly cracked like your throat has joined the opposition. Stress and tension can absolutely affect how the voice behaves, even before anything serious is wrong structurally. Your body basically hears "important moment" and responds by replacing your normal voice with a temporary beta version. Fact 78. The hot and cold panic flip. 1 second you're fine. The next, you feel hot, sweaty, shaky, maybe faint, and then oddly cold afterward, like your internal climate system got hacked mid-sentence. Anxiety and panic can bring rapid autonomic changes, including feeling hot, sweating, trembling, and dizziness. Your body basically treats one stressful thought like a weather emergency and starts running extreme conditions with terrible timing. Fact 79. The social bathroom emergency. You are about to speak in public, meet someone important, or walk into a stressful room, and suddenly your body decides this is the perfect moment to threaten you with an urgent bathroom situation. Anxiety disorders can come with nausea, urgency, and other gut-level symptoms that feel absurdly physical for something that started in the mind. Your nervous system basically sees social evaluation and immediately starts rebooting the plumbing. Fact 80. The stress swallow glitch. You are anxious, trying to stay composed, and suddenly swallowing feels weirdly difficult or hyper-noticeable, like your throat has forgotten how one of the most basic body functions works. Difficulty swallowing sensations and Globus-style throat tightness are recognized stress-linked experiences for many people. Human biology really does hit manual mode on swallowing, right when you would prefer every function to stay automatic and invisible. Fact 81. The standing up shutdown. You get out of bed, stand up from the couch, or rise too fast in line, and suddenly the room tilts like your body forgot how blood pressure works for 3 seconds. Orthostatic hypotension can cause lightheadedness, dizziness, and even fainting when standing after sitting or lying down. Your body basically changes position and briefly forgets how to supply your brain like a responsible landlord. Fact 82. The "I'm vibrating inside" glitch. You're sitting still, nothing visible is shaking, but deep inside it feels like your body is buzzing, humming, or running on hidden engine parts. Some tremor-related or neurologic symptoms can feel like internal vibrations, even when the outside world sees nothing dramatic. That makes it especially rude. Your nervous system can throw a private earthquake that only the person trapped inside the building gets to enjoy. Fact 83. The brain zap surprise. You turn your head, move your eyes, or just exist normally, and suddenly it feels like a tiny electric jolt shot through your brain for no useful reason. People call them brain zaps, and researchers still don't have a clean, settled explanation for what they are, though medication withdrawal is a common trigger. Your body basically sends an unauthorized lightning notification directly through your thoughts and then refuses tech support. Fact 84. The smoke that isn't there alarm. You're at home, at work, or lying in bed when suddenly you smell smoke or burnt toast and start scanning the room like a panicked bloodhound. Nothing is burning. Phantasmia, smelling odors that aren't there, is real, recognized, and weirdly unsettling no matter how many times medicine names it. Your brain basically hits the fire alarm without checking whether there is any actual fire first. Fact 85. The ground is moving lie. You're standing still, maybe in a grocery line or after turning your head, and suddenly your balance system acts like the floor is rocking, swaying, or slipping under you. Inner ear and brain systems that control balance can generate very convincing movement errors, and symptoms like dizziness, oscillopsia, or unsteadiness are real clinical problems. Your body basically opens a fake motion simulator while you're just trying to buy cereal. Fact 86. The skipped beat heart fake out. You're sitting quietly, lying in bed, or doing something boring when your chest suddenly feels like it fluttered, flipped, or skipped a beat. Premature beats and palpitations are often harmless, but the sensation can feel dramatic enough to make your soul file paperwork. Doctors can explain a lot of the mechanics. Your body still occasionally turns one off-script heartbeat into a full emotional jump scare with chest acoustics. Fact 87. The pain that arrives before meaning. Sometimes your body just feels off before you can explain how. Lightheaded, shaky, strange, vaguely wrong, like the software detected a problem before the user interface translated it. Pre-syncope is a real example. You may feel faint, sweaty, or nauseated before actually passing out. Your body basically pushes out a cryptic warning message in the least helpful possible format. Vibes, dread, and a need to sit down immediately. Fact 88. The startle to blackout shortcut. Some people can go from seeing blood, feeling pain, getting overheated, or standing too long to suddenly going pale and dropping like their nervous system hit the emergency power-off switch. Vasovagal syncope is real and can be triggered by pain, emotional distress, heat, or prolonged standing. The body basically overreacts to one stressor and solves it by briefly evicting consciousness from the building. Fact 89. The internal alarm with no label. You know that weird moment when your body feels wrong before your brain can organize a sentence about it? Too warm, too floaty, too buzzy, too disconnected, just not right? Medicine can often describe the pieces separately: dizziness, presyncope, tremor, dissociation-like feelings. But the lived experience still feels like your operating system detected a problem in code before it could render a useful error message in English. Fact 90. The overreaction feint. You can be perfectly aware that a trigger is tiny. One needle, one blood draw, one hot room, one ugly injury photo, and your body still responds like it's escaping a stampede. Vasovagal fainting is one of the clearest examples of the body doing way too much all at once. It's not dramatic on purpose. Your nervous system just occasionally sees a small threat and chooses total shutdown like a diva leaving the stage. Fact 91. The ice pick head stab. You're brushing your teeth, scrolling your phone, or just sitting there, when a tiny, brutal stab of pain hits your head, like someone flicked your skull from the inside. These ultra-short, sharp headaches are a recognized phenomenon, even if the exact why of some stabbing head pains can still feel annoyingly mysterious in the moment. Your body basically sends a jump scare notification straight to your brain and then acts innocent. Fact 92. The muscle twitch pop-up. You're lying in bed, trying to work, or watching TV, when one muscle suddenly starts twitching like it received a text message from nowhere. Eyelid twitches and little fasciculations are common and often harmless, with stress, fatigue, caffeine, and irritation all blamed like usual suspects in a very small crime. Your body is somehow advanced enough to heal wounds, and yet still occasionally runs random background spam in your calf or eyelid. Fact 93. The pins and needles reboot. You sit weird for too long, wake up on your arm, or cross your legs like a folding chair experiment, and suddenly part of your body fills with pins and needles. Medicine can explain a lot of this, as nerves and blood supply getting briefly compressed, but the feeling still seems ridiculous every time it happens. Your arm basically goes offline, reboots with static, and then blames you for the entire outage. Fact 94. The stomach drop with no roller coaster. You get a weird text, hear bad news, or even just think a stressful thought, and your stomach instantly drops like the floor vanished beneath your organs. Anxiety and stress can absolutely produce strong gut sensations, nausea, and whole-body alarm responses long before anything actually happens. Your body basically reads one emotional headline and sends your intestines into dramatic breaking news mode for no practical reason whatsoever. Fact 95. The chest tightness fake out. You're stressed, panicking, or spiraling over something small, and suddenly, your chest feels tight enough to make your brain start writing its will. Anxiety can absolutely cause chest pain, pressure, and muscle tightening, which is rude enough on its own. The problem is your body uses the same stage props as genuinely serious conditions. It's a spectacularly unhelpful glitch. Your stress response cosplays as a full emergency and expects you to stay calm. Fact 96. The standing too long shutdown. You're in a hot room, a long line, a ceremony, or a clinic, and suddenly your body decides that upright consciousness has become optional. Vasovagal reactions and presyncope can build from standing too long, heat, stress, or pain until the whole system starts dimming. Your body basically says, "This is too much," and tries to solve the problem by uninstalling you from the scene for a minute. Fact 97. The internal tremor nobody else can see. You're sitting still, but inside it feels like you're humming, buzzing, or faintly vibrating, even though the outside world sees absolutely nothing dramatic. Tremor-related and neurologic symptoms can sometimes feel internal before anything obvious shows up externally, which means your body can run a private earthquake simulator that nobody else can validate for you. It's a deeply weird user experience. Your nervous system shakes the building without moving the curtains. Fact 98. The heart skip that hijacks your soul. You're resting, trying to fall asleep, or doing something boring when your chest suddenly flutters, skips, or thumps hard enough to make your spirit briefly leave the chat. Premature beats and anxiety-linked palpitations are common, and doctors can explain a lot of the mechanics. But in the moment, it still feels like your heart just improvised jazz without rehearsal. Human biology really put a panic button inside the rib cage and called that acceptable design. Fact 99. The balance lie. You turn too fast, stand up, or shift your head, and suddenly the room feels like it moved first. Dizziness and balance glitches can come from several systems, especially the inner ear and circulation, and they can arrive with ridiculous confidence even when you were doing nothing remotely adventurous. Your body basically rents out your sense of gravity to chaos for 5 seconds and then hands it back like nothing happened. Fact 100. The something is wrong signal. Before you can name it, diagnose it, or even explain it, your body sometimes just feels off. Too buzzy, too floaty, too lightheaded, too strange. Medicine can often break that down later into dizziness, presyncope, palpitations, anxiety symptoms, or sensory weirdness. But the first experience is just one giant, undefined warning light. Your body basically sends an error message with no label, no fix, and a truly insulting amount of urgency. Fact 101. The body's biggest glitch. The weirdest glitch may be this. Your body can do something completely real, intensely physical, and deeply convincing before your brain has any clean explanation for it. A jolt, a drop, a smell, a tremor, a freeze, a flood of heat. Doctors can often describe the mechanism, or at least part of it, but the experience still feels like haunted software running inside a miracle machine. And honestly, that may be the strangest design choice of all. Your body is brilliant. It heals, adapts, remembers, protects, and keeps you alive without asking for applause. And then, every once in a while, it completely glitches out. It jerks you awake, makes you hear things, smell things, freeze, shake, sweat, drop, flutter, buzz, or panic for reasons that feel way bigger than the moment. Doctors can explain a lot of it, but not always cleanly, not always completely. Because the human body is not just a masterpiece. It is also a masterpiece running on electricity, chemistry, old survival code, and occasional nonsense. Basically, you are a miracle. You are also, from time to time, a haunted smartphone with organs.